The Heat opened their title defense tonight against the Celtics. And so the question obviously is, which team is the biggest threat to the Heat in the East, since earlier you picked them to win it all? Skip, you go first.
You fire.
Oh, you don't go first.
Yeah.
All right.
Listen, to me, this is a debate show. But there's no debate here.
Okay.
It's clearly the Boston Celtics.
Okay.
I mean, there's no other team in the East worth even considering as a challenge to the Miami Heat. I respect the Indiana Pacers' job that Frank Vogel and those boys did, last year. There's no doubt about that. Brian Shaw, as well as assistant head coach. I mean, he should be a head coach in this league relatively soon. You look at the talent, the fact that they re-signed Roy Hibbert, that's going to help them immensely. They're rough and rugged and they're old school. They know themselves. So as a result of that, they don't try to be something that they're not, and I think that makes them formidable. Clearly, the Philadelphia 76ers have gotten significantly better because, obviously, getting Andrew Bynum. Even though Iguodala's a loss, you get a 7'1" center. That's a big deal. You can't ignore Brooklyn with the acquisition of Johnson appeared with Darren Williams, making them one of the best backcourts in the game. And certainly with the New York Knicks, Carmelo Anthony is a big-time closer. And I think Mike Woodson has something to do with this because you got to remember the New York Knicks improved by giving up 5 points less per game the minute Mike Woodson took over. Even though they got a bunch of senior citizens on their front line and the Marcus Camby's, the Kurt Thomases to go along with Tyson Chandler, you got Raymond Felton and Jason Kidd, experience as quintessential prototypical point guards, as opposed to Jeremy Lin, who was more of a scorer. But with all of that being said, none of them compared to the Boston Celtics, and here's why. Paul Pierce's knee wasn't 100%. He was gimpy. Ray Allen's ankles had been bothering him all season long. Avery Bradley was out, okay, with the shoulder injury, all right? Chris Wilcox and Jeff Green. Remember Jeff Green used to be in Oklahoma City? He can play.
I agree.
And Chris Wilcox is a legitimate power forward in this game. Those are 5 guys that I just gave you that are pivotal elements on a team, all right? 3 of them were out, and the other 2, Ray Allen and Paul Pierce, were hobbled. And the Boston Celtics still took the Miami Heat to Game 7 within 48 minutes of an NBA Finals berth. So what do they do this offseason? Ray Allen and his career-high 45% shooting from three-point range, he's gone. If you can't have Ray Allen, but you need three-point shooting, who do you go get? Jason Terry.
Absolutely.
Okay, you got him from Dallas. Courtney Lee comes from Houston. By the way, this boy can play and he can score too. Avery Bradley is coming back from his shoulder injury. They say in a month, Skip. They say in a month.
But now he's got both shoulders.
I'm just saying. I'm assuming. Remember, if I'm looking for him to score and shoot, that's a problem. No, he's there for defense. He's coming back. Okay. You got KG. They were significantly better when they put him at the 5. All right. Then you also draft Fab Melo and Jared Sellinger. Even though I'm not sold on him, but he was big at Ohio State. He was big time.
You're not sold?
Now, because I think he's like a Clarence Weatherspoon where your athleticism isn't necessarily there, even though you know how to play. That's how I feel about Jared Sellinger. He's a nice kid, and I wish him luck, but I just don't know about him. But not only do you have that, both Chris Wilcox and Jeff Green are back to go with a Courtney Lee, to go with a Jason Terry, and still be paired with KG, Paul Pierce, and Rajon Rondo. Let me tell you something. That's big time. So I look at Boston in that sense, and this is the last thing that I want to say. Everybody's sitting there and talking about the game. I love 2 things that I saw. Yesterday, Rachel Nichols, she's talking to Kevin Garnett, and she said, have you called Ray Allen? He said, nope. She said, why not? Preference. A month earlier, he said this, I lost his number. Friend of mine, he with the enemy now. Why? Because it wasn't just, now Ray Allen is class personified. You can't find a classier dude in the NBA than him. But he didn't just leave. He didn't just leave for half of what Boston had offered him. He also left to go with their enemy. He knows how they feel about Miami. He knows how they feel about LeBron James and how insulted they were that everybody's been talking about the big 3 since LeBron James arrived in South Beach. And not only did he leave, but he left for Miami, and in the process with all of these rumblings about his relationship with Doc Rivers and Rajon Rondo. So all of those things being considered, Boston wants Miami so bad, I don't believe that Boston would even be as remotely satisfied with winning a world championship if it doesn't go through Miami. That's how badly they want the Miami Heat. They can't stand these boys, and Miami knows it. So when you talk about heated rivalry, this is must-see television. I'm depressed because Hurricane Sandy kept me. I was supposed to be there. I was supposed to be there from last night. I couldn't wait. I just couldn't wait. You have no idea how depressed that I am not in South Beach tonight for this game. And I'm talking about South Beach. I wouldn't even go into the best South Beach. I done stayed at the American Airlines just so I didn't miss this game. I just can't wait.
So we're blaming it on Sandy.
It's Sandy's fault now.
Well, absolutely.
You blamed it on Sandy a lot of times in your life.
Nobody.
There have been other Sandys you blamed it on.
I feel you on that. But this is heated. This is a heated. It's the hatred, Skip. It's the hatred. Keep your eyes on that. Miami's going. I still think Miami, but it's not going to be easy. It's not. Boston will be waiting.
Okay, I'm going to remind you that you just broke the first take record for first salvo. I think you're close to 8 minutes in on your initial.
Kevin, how long?
What is it?
Kevin,
You did go.
7:35.
You said I went 7:35.
Yes.
7:35. One time you did go 9+ minutes
did
on
not.
Tebow.
I
On
did
Tebow.
not.
Yes, you did.
Okay.
But go ahead.
Okay.
Go ahead.
I appreciate and I enjoyed your 7 minutes and 35 seconds. And I mostly agree with everything you just said. Except, here's what I don't get. You make such a strong case for the Boston Celtics, and I loved it. And I'm like, I'm coming up out of my seat, and I'm waiting. And then you say, but they can't beat the Heat. What is it? Your heart says you want Boston. Your heart is telling you. Maybe your deepest instinct is telling you it's the Celtics' time.
You know better. I love wars. Okay. I love warfare in basketball. I can't stand all of this. The friendship. I don't overreact to it the way that you do, but I don't like it either. I love the fact that KG is disgusting.
I do too.
I love it.
I love it.
I love it. It's beautiful.
That's old school NBA.
That's old school.
All this new age peace and love,
and everybody
bromances, BFFs everywhere. Right. No, I don't want to hear that. Even though it may be a little bit for show what KG is doing, because I think in his heart of hearts he still loves him some Ray.
Let me tell you something right now.
Okay.
KG don't do show.
Well, I don't know.
He doesn't do that.
I think he does a little show.
I've known KG. Okay. We don't communicate that much. I mean, but we have mutual friends, and KG and I talked a lot in the past. KG I've known for over 15 years. KG does not do show. He doesn't have a fake bone in his body at all.
I think there's a little actor
There's
in there.
nothing fake about KG.
Okay, whatever. Bottom line, the reason I can't pick Boston over the Miami Heat is the same reason I have a hard time with LA. I have a hard time with the Spurs. Your old saying, age and attrition. It's going to come down. This game, all these games are won in the end, by the stars. The stars prevail. It's going to have to be Blake Griffin if the Clippers are going to really rise up to where you want them to rise to. In the end, it's got to be Tim Duncan and Ginobili. They're going to stay healthy? I don't know. So in the end, really, KG and Paul.
36 and 35 years of age, respectively.
We're pushing it now. Doc knows they're pushing it. Danny Ainge knows they're pushing it. They may be over the hill, completely over the hill. But he said, remember everybody saying, break up the Celtics last year? Remember that? But he said, no, let's one last hurrah. Maybe it'll click. I think Jared Soldier has an NBA body, and I think Doc will give him an NBA psyche. I think he'll be a player. If he's got 2 shoulder issues, but he can defend, big, strong guard. I love that. Can he come back and be that factor again?
Defensively,
maybe.
I think so.
I love Jason Terry, and I like Jeff Green. So what's not to love about the Celtics? I agree with you, except I don't know if KG and Paul will be at that level that they were 3 or 4 years ago.